Have you ever stopped to wonder why Revelation 9 is considered the most terrifying chapter in the Bible? Today, we're going on a journey, not just a simple conversation, but an exploration of the hidden truths behind these enigmatic visions. Beyond the haunting imagery, this chapter holds profound lessons about fear and the choices we make, reflections that echo deeply within our own reality. Stay with me until the end, and together we'll dive into the historical context, unravel the symbolism of these mysterious creatures, and uncover a message that just might transform the way you see not only the end of times, but the very essence of life itself. Shall we begin? Imagine opening an ancient book, its pages yellowed with time, carrying the faint scent of history. There, within its fragile leaves, lies Revelation chapter 9, a passage that has stolen sleep from many. It speaks of locusts unlike any you've ever known, of an abyss torn open, and of Abaddon, the Destroyer, a name that carries the weight of something ominous. But hold on. Before your mind drifts to scenes from a horror film, consider the context. Revelation was written by John, exiled on the island of Patmos toward the end of the 1st century, during a time when Christians faced fierce persecution under the Roman Empire. John received visions that he described in symbolic language, like dreams woven with layers of profound meaning. Among these symbols, he speaks of the sound of trumpets, not the kind played in parades, but as signals of events both grand and spiritually significant. Chapter 9 begins with the blast of the 5th trumpet, but before it, others had already echoed, shaking the earth, the seas, the waters, and even the heavens. Each trumpet was a warning, a call to awaken, yet many turned a deaf ear. And this is where Revelation 9 becomes even more unsettling. When external warnings no longer suffice, the abyss opens from within. When the 5th trumpet sounds, the text describes the opening of the bottomless pit. From it rises a dark, suffocating smoke. And from within that smoke emerge the locusts. These creatures don't feast on crops. Instead, they torment those who lack the seal of God on their foreheads. Led by Abaddon, also known as Apollyon, meaning destroyer, they symbolize the inner afflictions that plague humanity. Fears that paralyze, guilt that consumes, and doubts that silently corrode the soul. But the most haunting part isn't the creatures or the abyss. It's what this chapter reveals about the human heart. Even in the face of suffering, many remain chained to their own mistakes, blind to the truth before their eyes. Revelation 9 isn't just a prophecy of distant days. It's a mirror reflecting our present, our daily choices marked by materialism, pride, and a lack of empathy. And what about our resistance to change? How often do we find ourselves trapped in the same patterns, even when we know they lead us to dark places? Chapter 9 confronts us with this reality. The abyss is not merely an external threat, but a metaphor for the depths we carve within ourselves. When we refuse to face our fears and vices, we allow these invisible locusts to keep gnawing away at our peace, pulling us further from a life of true fulfillment. But there's a light at the end of this tunnel. Despite its chilling imagery, Revelation is a book of hope. It reminds us that even amid chaos, there's an opportunity for renewal. The key lies in looking inward, acknowledging our personal abysses, and choosing to confront them with courage. After all, the greatest battle isn't against apocalyptic monsters, it's against ourselves, against the very things that hinder our growth and disconnect us from what truly matters. The next time you read this chapter, don't picture monsters rising from the abyss. Think of the abysses we open within ourselves and the locusts that feed on fear and indifference. And remember, there's always a way out. Revelation also carries a message of hope and renewal for those who choose to see beyond the ego fear. Because, in the end, the most terrifying thing isn't revelation. It's living without understanding the message it's trying to share with us. Now that we've reflected on the symbolism of the bottomless pit and the locusts, let's take a step further and uncover what lies beneath it all. The true meaning behind the sound of the trumpets in Revelation. After all, what are these? Blasts trying to tell us? What role do they play amidst such enigmatic imagery? Imagine the thunderous sound of a trumpet echoing across the sky. Not just any sound, but a call that transcends time, awakening us not only to future events, but to a reality that already exists within us. Revelation uses the blast of trumpets not merely as signals of apocalyptic events, but as spiritual alarms, drawing our attention to truths we often ignore. Each trumpet is like an alarm clock shaking us from our complacency, a reminder that something greater is unfolding even when we're too distracted to notice. The real impact isn't just in what's described, like locusts, angels, or armies, but in what these symbols make us feel: unease, reflection, and, above all, anxiety here. Invitation to transformation. When we hear about destruction and chaos, it's natural to think of external disasters or conflicts. But Revelation shows us that true chaos begins within the human heart, in the absence of purpose, the disconnection from what's essential, and the stubborn resistance to change. The blast of the trumpets exposes this fragility, not to frighten us, but to awaken us. And then, the sixth trumpet sounds. What it reveals isn't just a sequence of dramatic events, but a deeper reality: the consequences of human choices. The text describes 4 angels released to lead an army of horsemen, a vivid image reflecting the chaos that spreads when we neglect our own responsibility. Here, Revelation isn't just speaking of physical wars, but of the battles we face every day against selfishness, indifference, and the absence of empathy. What's most striking is realizing that even in the face of countless signs, many remain indifferent. This reveals that the problem has never been the absence of warnings, but our struggle to truly hear them. It's like someone driving down a dangerous road, passing signs that warn of risks ahead, yet refusing to change direction. The problem isn't the lack of signs, it's our resistance to seeing them. Now take a moment to reflect. What trumpets have sounded in your life? Those moments that, though uncomfortable, serve to wake you up and make you rethink your choices? If you've experienced something like this, share your story in the comments. Your words might be the very trumpet someone else needs to hear today. Now that we've explored the sound of the trumpets and the abyss, let's dive deeper into the spiritual impact of these revelations. Revelation 9 immerses us in a scene of chaos, disturbing images of opened abysses, symbolic creatures, and judgments that seem inescapable. Yet, hidden between these intense lines lies something subtle, a message of hope that rises above the chaos. The true spiritual impact of Revelation isn't found solely in its warnings, but in the silent promise that chaos is not the end of the story. Even when the trumpets announce destruction, there's always room for redemption. The text is intense because, often, it's at the edge of crisis, where the greatest opportunities for transformation emerge. Think about it. Why are these visions so symbolic and filled with powerful imagery? Perhaps because the deepest changes don't come with gentle whispers, but through jolts that awaken us to a new reality. Revelation uses extremes to remind us of something fundamental. Light only makes sense because darkness exists. The chaos described isn't the goal, but the backdrop where the true miracle unfolds. The awakening of consciousness. It's like a violent storm. While the world seems to fall apart, a seed is planted in the damp earth, ready to sprout when the sun shines again. This is the essence of Revelation's spiritual impact. It's not a book about the end, but about the possibility of new beginnings. The abyss may open, but it also reveals the depth of our capacity for resilience and renewal. If this message resonated with you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to keep receiving content that inspires and transforms. Your support makes all the difference in helping this message reach even more people. After exploring the impact of the trumpets and the symbols in Revelation 9, it's time to focus on a crucial detail that makes all the difference: the seal of God. Amid images of chaos, enigmatic creatures, and an abyss opening wide, this seal emerges as a silent yet powerful symbol of protection and hope. Imagine an ancient scroll sealed with wax. That seal guarantees its authenticity, its significance. In the same way, the seal of God isn't something visible to human eyes, but a symbolic mark engraved on the hearts of those who hold on to faith, even when the world around them seems to crumble. This seal isn't a reward for the perfect. To the contrary, it represents a conscious choice to stand firm amidst life's storms. Carrying the seal of God is like holding a flame within you, one that continues to burn, even when the world outside is shrouded in darkness. Picture a violent storm, fierce winds, roaring thunder, and a sky swallowed by darkness. In the middle of that chaos, imagine a small candle protected by a glass jar. The storm may rage, but the flame stays lit. That's the seal of God. It doesn't prevent hardships from coming, but it safeguards what's most valuable: our faith, our essence, our connection to the divine. Revelation 9 also reveals a challenging side of human nature: the resistance to change. Even in the face of suffering, pain, and clear signs that something needs to be transformed, many choose to remain trapped in their own mistakes. It's like someone in a burning house, with the door wide open right in front of them, yet they refuse to leave because they're clinging to what's inside. It seems irrational, but that's exactly what happens when we hold on to old habits, limiting beliefs, and patterns we know aren't good for us. Repentance is often misunderstood as a synonym for guilt or punishment, but in reality, it's an invitation to transformation. To repent isn't just to feel remorse, it's to choose a different path. It's like an artist realizing a color doesn't fit the painting, picking up the brush, and making a new stroke, creating something even more beautiful. Even when the I be do heart falters, God continues to offer new beginnings. The true seal of God isn't carved in stone, but etched into the heart of anyone who chooses to walk toward the light, even when the path feels difficult. Now tell me, have you ever experienced a moment when a spark of hope rekindled your faith? Share your story in the comments and inspire someone who might need that light today. After exploring the trumpets, the bottomless pit, the symbolic locusts, Abaddon, the seal of God, and the human heart in the face of judgment, we arrive at the central question: what does all of this mean for us today? Revelation 9 isn't just a collection of frightening images. It's a mirror reflecting our reality. We don't need literal trumpets or creatures rising from an abyss to recognize the crises that shake both our physical foundations and our spirit. The locusts of our time, anxieties, fear of the future, and existential emptiness, attack us silently, while many of us live on autopilot, ignoring the signs that call for our attention. True spiritual awakening happens when we find the courage to face what lies within us. Imagine a ship sailing in open waters as a storm approaches. The captain can choose to ignore the danger or adjust the sails and change course. Likewise, it's not fear that transforms us, but the awareness that we can choose a path of growth and peace. Revelation reminds us that free will is both a gift and a responsibility. Even in the face of mistakes and challenges, there's always an opportunity to begin again, to open a window in the soul and let the light in. If this message touched your heart, leave a like, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and subscribe to the channel to keep following reflections that can make a difference in your life. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video with more inspiration and transformation. Until then.